Welcome back to the Distiller podcast. Today I'm on location at Spun Bicycles in Northside in Cincinnati. One of my favorite places in town, honestly. I don't know if you guys know this, Dom and Judi. I'm sitting here with DOMINIC and Judi LoPresti, the owners of Spun Bicycles, and I geek out whenever I come here because honestly, when I was a kid growing up in rural Idaho, the only thing I did was ride BMX bikes all summer long, and the only place I wanted to be was hanging out at the bike shop. So
awesome.
Anytime I come in here, it's like kind of takes me back. So thank you guys, first of all, for being willing to be on the podcast and letting us invade your shop.
Awesome.
A little bit.
No worries. It's awesome.
Yeah. So you guys know a little bit about the podcast. The goal of the podcast is to talk about work. We say it's the soul of work, or how people find meaningful work and find meaning in the work that they do. And we generally, we want to have a conversation. Often conversations are best had just in a relaxed format around something to drink, enjoying something together. Terry's going to come in a second. She's going to bring us some coffees from down the street. But in the meantime, setting the stage a little bit, and correct me if I'm going to do a little bring us up to speed for people that don't know about you guys in the shop. Shop opened in 2007?
2013.
13. Okay,
yeah.
I'm way off.
Yeah.
Way off.
Seems like it's been 10 years. Yeah.
13. So 4 years.
Almost 5. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And you guys are both from Ohio, both from Cincinnati?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually moved here when I was 13 from Dayton, Ohio. But yeah, for the most part, I'm from Cincinnati.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. And there's there was a really amazing bicycling magazine interview that came out with you guys in 2015. And I'll link to that on the website because I don't want to, there's a ton of amazing history and your story of the two of you and how you met and sort of a lot of the stuff that led up to the shop. And I don't want to necessarily redo that interview all over again and make you guys just tell the same story. But what I'm interested in is finding out, you guys have had a very tumultuous past.
Yeah.
You've gone through a lot of crap. You went through a lot of crap to find each other.
Yep.
And then I'm super interested in finding out where that article kind of leaves off. You guys, it's it leaves off with you guys meeting and starting the shop essentially. Yeah. And I'm really interested to find out what does all that look like now. So anyway, that's kind of where I want to go. I've got some questions that we'll get into. But I think first of all, tell me a little bit about yourselves and what both of you bring to the shop. It's a bike shop. Is it fair to say primarily a BMX focused bike shop, although you guys do everything?
We do everything.
Okay.
I'd say it's about a 40-60 breakdown, 40% BMX,
okay,
60% traditional bicycling.
Right on. Mm-hmm. And for people that haven't been in, I mean, if you think neighborhood bike shop, if you think local businesses, if you're into any of those words resonate with you, this is one of the best examples that I can ever think about what a local business means to a neighborhood, because you guys are involved in the neighborhood. You were on Facebook last week, celebrating that you guys got
a pylon.
Yeah, your pylons and your crosswalks because the traffic here is insane.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think all of that is amazing, and that's kind of all what I want to explore. So let's just start at a really high level. Obviously, you're bike enthusiasts. Obviously, opening a shop makes a lot of sense for you. But what is being small business owners? What was attractive to that about you guys before you opened the shop, aside from just the bikes aspect of it?
Well, I mean, I've always kind of thought about having my own business. It was just kind of how to go about it and how to make that happen. And when I met DOMINIC, he had this amazing personality, and I knew wherever he worked, when he bartended, he was the life of the party. Mm-hmm. And he knew how, he had the gift of gab, they say, and I always knew DOMINIC would be an awesome business owner. So when we were able to get to figure out how to get the shop and make it happen, it seems normal. I don't know, everything just kind of fell into place.
You said you'd always been interested or attracted to sort of owning a business. Why?
Yeah, I mean, is that
I
don't like people telling me what to do.
Yeah, no, that could be.
I worked for a big corporation for 7 years with one company, 4 years with another, and I just didn't do well in big corporate America. I was always really unhappy and stressed out, and no matter what the benefits were, I mean, I was the rebel, you know, I wouldn't do what I was told, and I always had questions, and so I always dreamt. Years before I met Dominic, I wanted a pet shop. I wanted I wanted like a little shop to sell dog food, because I had my dog, and you know, I was really into canine nutrition, and you know, and I just never knew how to make that happen. So,
what about you, Dom?
Well, it's weird. You know, I've always been involved in like customer service most of my life, whether it be food and beverage, for the most part, for a good solid 20 years.
Right on.
And I constantly would make a lot of money for other people, you know, just for being able to hang out with people and have a good time. I mean, I worked for a very high-end restaurant that had really, really high standards. I had 3 different stints at the same restaurant. They always would bring me back. And they really instilled a very high standard for customer service. Yeah. And I just looked, I've grown up in bike shops. I've been a bike shop rat since I was, at 11, you know, bugging bike shop owners and hanging out. And so I've seen over the years through hanging out at bike shops, working at bike shops as a mechanic, all the things that I don't like about bike shops, and that I would think that I could do a better job. And I just think the bar is set so low sometimes in the industry for how you approach it. Yeah. So I was kind of born to be a bike mechanic. You know, I mean, I started doing it on my own by 11, and I really, besides bartending, and I used to be a tile setter as well, I don't know how to do anything else. And it just made the most perfect sense. My problem was finding the path to get it going, you know, and to get the capital, to get the right location. And this just kind of, I met Judith, you know, and we just really.
You call me Judith.
I always call you Judith. We just really hit it off. I fell in love with her the day I met her, you know, and it was meant to be. It was kind of like how this whole thing, how our whole bike shop, I really think was meant to be. And then once we were able to figure out how to actually get our butts in here, it kind of fell into place. Right location, right time.
There were some trials and tribulations in the beginning.
Sure, you know, but it was...
Like what? I mean, standard small businessy stuff? Like
like husband and wife.
Oh, yeah. We didn't know how to be husband and wife at first.
We didn't know how to be husband and wife.
How long after you guys met did you open the shop?
We met in 2007, and we got married in 2010, and then we opened the shop in 2013.
And was in couples counseling by 2011.
We were, we were also trying to get sober too. I mean, there was a lot of struggles in there. And
a lot going on.
But in the beginning of the bike shop, it was like, okay, so we're going to be business partners, and we're going to be together all day, every day.
Right.
And in the beginning, we knew, even before the build out was done, I knew what my role was going to be, and he knew what his role was going to be. But there was a lot of things that we had to figure out. Adjustment,
you know, like where is our place in the business? You know, like what are we going to focus on individually? You know, we all had it. I mean, I had some really preconceived notions of how it was going to be, which didn't work out at all. I'm like, oh, honey, you know, you don't have to work like 3 days a week. You know, I want you to just go train and ride your bike and just be a housewife. And like, that didn't work out at all. Like, there's no way that
He's like, I just need your help to get it open.
Yeah.
Right. I'll do all the work after that.
No, that was very grandiose by my part.
But there was, in the beginning, we fought a lot too. I mean, he would stomp out, or I would stomp out, and then it would be like, we were getting a huge fight, and then he'd be like, well, I'm leaving, and then he'd leave, and I would be here like,
running the shop.
Oh my God, it totally freaked out, and that's
a lot to take on. I mean, like, relationships are hard enough
Yeah, it was.
Especially when relationships start when you're a little older. You got some baggage. You got some stuff you're working through. There's going to be some edges that need to get knocked off. And then
we
it's
had
so
new
early
employees too, and we had to. We made them feel uncomfortable a lot.
And that we'd warn them,
you're walking into something.
Well, because
here.
we'll be like, oh, fuck you, no, fuck you, and like 3 minutes later, I'm pinching her butt and we're kissing. That's
right.
that's kind of our dynamic, We're hot, cold all the time, and I'm like, just don't. If we start freaking out, just don't worry about it. It'll be fine, and it's gotten less extreme every year,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we rarely even
if
fight anymore.
we even fight.
It's like, oh, you're being dumb. Shut up.
No, or if I get mad about something, I mean, he immediately knows when he's wrong and say sorry. And I do the same. Like, I know when I'm wrong.
That's a huge thing. I don't want to get in the whole gender thing, but for a man, you got to know when it's time to apologize to your wife.
Yeah.
And that's huge. I mean, that can head a lot of stuff off at the past, man.
Yep.
And it's like choose your battles. That's what I've learned. I mean, it's like. I think we've gotten more couples therapy, not from going to see a counselor, but actually this place. This
right,
is
just having to work stuff out.
Yeah, this is our own this is our own therapy.
Yeah.
It's kind of that's how it's worked out. But
well, and actually, part of that's why I wanted to interview you guys together is let's stop for a second. I'll hold that thought. Terry is here with the coffee.
This is custom-made coffee from the local coffee shop Sidewinder.
Here, get on the mic there, Terry, so we can hear you. From Sidewinder, just up the street.
Sidewinder up the street.
There you go, Dom. That's
Thank
you.
you.
They said hi. Judy used to work there. Dom has black drip coffee.
Alrighty.
Judy has regular coffee with Splenda and milk.
Uh-huh.
Brandon has regular coffee
That's
with
Terry. All right.
cream. And I have regular coffee with cream.
All right.
sorry, I kept eyeballing it and I couldn't.
No, man. I need some too. Let's get in here. Cheers. I don't know if you can do
Cheers.
that with coffee, but
Yeah.
good to have everybody here.
Yeah.
Thanks for.
We'll get all jacked
How
up on
fun.
Sidewinder coffee and
Let's
talk.
do it. Things will speed up significantly toward the end of the interview.
It's
I've already had
good.
like 5 cups.
I'm ready.
That's all we do in the morning when we wake up. Just down coffee.
Down a pot
Pound
of
it.
coffee, yeah.
Well, thank you to Sidewinder. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, Sidewinder.
No, I'm super interested in the idea. I know several couples, married or not, who work together, who the stuff that they've done. It's one thing for somebody to go through their life and figure out what they want to do and what the work of their life is by themselves. It's a whole other thing when you do that with your partner and you got to work out the relationship in all of those questions. And sometimes I think it makes it easier because it's like a crucible where you're here every day. You don't get to escape the questions of your relationship, and the questions of your work are the questions of your relationship, and you're either going to work it out or you're not going to work it out, but you're going to figure it out pretty quick one way or the other.
Yeah.
Was there ever an intention or an opportunity to do something else, or were you guys always, no, let's do this together
No, absolutely wanted to do it together.
from the start?
From the start, yeah.
And I've always wanted to be with him all day, every day, ever since I met him. I
Yeah,
mean, we had really
We're
bad
codependent, big time. I mean, we even when we're at the house, if we're in the same room all the time. If I'm gonna go make some food, I'm like, oh, honey, come in the kitchen with me, and hang out.
I love it.
Yeah, we don't separate ever.
But when we
Unless we're
met,
training.
we had opposite schedules, and we had 1.5 days out of the week that we got to see each other.
Right.
I worked a crazy schedule. He worked a crazy schedule, and it was always back then. It was like Tuesday was dedicated to Dominic and Judy, and then when we got to open the shop, now it's bizarre because we don't. When I'm gone, I'm off on Friday. And he's like, he calls me, or I call him, probably, 7 or 8 times just during the work day because he immediately
works
comes
for you
home.
guys.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, he takes off and sleeps and works out and, does his thing. And I'll come home and he'll be like, yeah, I missed you. So.
I love it. I mean, that's, I don't, people might not guess that at first glance. Like, you guys are kind of like both Charger type of people. You do the stuff that you do fairly hardcore.
Yeah.
It may not be obvious. I don't know why it wouldn't be, but it may not be obvious that you guys have such a soft side for each other. And it sounds like you've mentioned therapy a couple of times. Like, are you guys still doing that?
We
either
only had to
independently
go
or
to
together?
like 5 sessions.
We did 5 sessions,
and
to
then we
figure it
went
out.
to AA,
Okay.
and then it was fine.
And then we,
Right, which is
and
a
we-
whole other kind of therapy.
we knew all along that there was no
What
way.
the problem was.
What the problem was, we knew right all along that there's no way we're getting divorced.
Right
you know,
on.
that was never an option. I mean, we're never not going to be with each other. We just had to figure out how to be with each other.
Yeah.
That was the other thing when we got the shop, we always maintained that the number one priority in our worlds were 1, our marriage, 2, the business. So never put the business in front
That's
of the marriage.
super important.
That's the
It
most
wouldn't work.
it would never have worked out that way. If he's not my number one priority and I'm not his number one priority, nothing works.
No.
Do you think the relationship is stronger because you're together every day? Do you think
Absolutely.
if you
Yeah.
guys were doing 9 to 5s and you weren't seeing each other all
It would
week?
suck.
We're
We couldn't
closer
do it.
now than we've ever been. Like we are. It sounds cliche to say, but we grow tighter every year. You know, where there's no growing apart.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's kind of unique. I don't think a lot of people experience that sometimes.
No, and I mean, if you read stuff that's out there in the world about how people work-life balance, and you know, people are generally going to a job that they hate, and then they're coming home and trying to figure out how to work on their relationships, how to take care of the people that they have, how to fulfill their obligations, and how to maybe get something in their life that makes them feel okay about themselves. And you guys, it's all one big, wonderful, messy ball where it's just the relationship is the job, is the purpose, which is kind of amazing. And the fact that you've both fallen into it, and it seems like there was never any option to do anything else, is really great. I think, we were talking before we started recording about, like, a lot of people spend their whole life trying to figure out what the thing is. For you guys, this was the thing. This was always the thing.
I've wanted a bike shop for decades.
Yeah.
I always knew it. And in every bike shop I ever worked at, I'm like, when I get older, I'm gonna open a bike shop. And I'm sure every bike rat shop has said that, But I really never doubted that I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I doubted if I could do it as far as being good at it.
Yeah.
I always just doubted and being able to get it going, and just finding that little pathway to open up something. At first, I was trying to scheme ways to open just a small little closet repair business, you know.
My dad offered us a space before he passed away.
And
No,
it wasn't a right fit, and we had always tried, and then we found out about this location and it all fell into place.
Exactly when it was supposed to. Because I think I almost feel like if the timeline was any different, we weren't ready.
Because we didn't have
the maturity either. We didn't have sobriety. We didn't have.
No, we definitely would have had to been sober to do this.
And the space. I can't see you guys in many other neighborhoods in Cincinnati and having it be such a
work
perfect,
anywhere
else. I know.
perfect fit.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like when we found the place, we didn't have, we did have some, we farmed out the imagery for our logo and stuff like that. But as far as what the inside of the guts of the place and the look and the vibe was all pretty much us. We knew right out of the gate how we wanted to look. I'm a huge fan of the whole DIY feel and vibe and look of things. And I wanted people to come in here and wow, it's all DIY. They build it themselves, and we don't have slat wall, display walls, we don't have, it's not cookie cutter. And it was a really big conscious effort on our parts to do it that way. And that's why we wouldn't work in anywhere else at locations, I don't think.
Well, and it seems like, whether you thought about this a ton or it's just who you are and it couldn't have been anything else. It seems like you're
probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, but you're catering very obviously to the people that you want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not super interested in some guy coming in who's never ridden a bike and just wants to plop a whole bunch of money down on something he's never going to touch. But rather lacing up a custom set of wheels for somebody that understands the value of that, both monetarily and just in terms of the workmanship, which I love. I love your, seeing on your Instagram feed and stuff when when you're custom building
wheels
a
are my
bike
fave.
for somebody.
Yeah.
I love that,
I
man.
love doing wheels, man.
Yeah.
I love doing custom. I always say this when we're hanging out, because I'll have like customers come in here that they come in for a light, end up hanging out with us for an hour and a half, just shooting the shit,
Right.
you know. And I love my customers. You know,
Yeah.
we have loyal friends that happen to be customers.
Yeah.
You know, and they were customers first, now they're friends. And then we have other people that are one-offs that may come in here and maybe we're not their thing. Then we have other people like, oh my God, I've been looking for a BMX shop. I just had this guy yesterday. This doesn't exist anywhere. I need to buy 2 BMX bikes for my kids, and I can't find anything to help anybody help me that's in the know. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's what we do.
But those retro bikes that you post, like this GT,
the old schools,
that's
man.
sitting there. You were talking about a
There's a lot
Torker
of
earlier
money
on.
in that.
Yeah, every time you post one of those, 13-year-old me just kind of go, oh my
And
God.
there's like a
see
bazillion
that
of
Skyway
you
the
out
other week?
there
I
that
know,
are like,
yeah.
That Skyway was sweet, wasn't it? Oh.
No, like, so I don't want to make this about me. Like when I was 12, so when I was like 10 or 11, I had the Sears Huffy, whatever the catalog bike was.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was probably 12, my mom got me a Raleigh Racing. I thought I was going to be a racer. And that, like 6 months later, got stolen from the driveway.
Oh.
And my mom worked some insurance magic. And I got a Redline Pro Styler with the insurance money.
still have it?
No, God, I wish I had it.
it would be
poor
worth
bastard.
so much money.
Oh, I know, I
Isn't it
know.
you can't believe.
No, and it was dialed. I mean, it was what would this have been, like 83, 84, the white frame.
Redline heyday, yeah.
Yeah, white Peregrine mags, GT bars, a rotor on it, like pegs. All my friends were racing, and I was like totally flatland freestyle. Like
Hell yeah.
I wasn't any good at all, but this is where I was going.
Yeah, man.
And man, I see you post those old bikes, and I seriously just,
It's a
geek
blessing. I mean, to get actually paid to do it, it's I giggle all the time, like getting paid to do this. It's ridiculous.
You beat it. You figured
and
it out.
I'm always all these cats that I'm doing these bikes for, man. I'm always telling them, like, man, if you sell this, I get dibs, right?
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of dibs on bikes that hopefully will come through someday, but probably not, because these guys never come off these things. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, I wish I still had it. Yeah, my friend Scott had this Kuwahara, that he rode for years and years, that I think about that thing like all chromoly. Anyway, so here's something I'm interested in. You talked about, and it's no secret that you guys have dealt with some really heavy addiction stuff, and that was part of you guys both meeting and getting together. I had a good friend who was a heroin addict who tried for years, like 19 years to get clean, could not kick, was like on the streets of Hong Kong. And when he finally, sobered up and beat it, was when he replaced it with, in his words, a complementary addiction, which for him was bodybuilding. And he was a giant guy, but he made no mistake. Like, it's in my personality, I've got to have one thing to replace the other. If I hadn't put something else there, there would be this place. Do you feel like that's true for you guys? And do you feel like the work ethic that you bring to the shop and the way that all of this is so integrated for you
Funny you say that.
meets
Dominic,
that, or?
Mr. Dominic.
I replaced bad addiction with a healthy addiction, whether it be riding my BMX bikes, which I've been dealing with some injuries in the last year and a half or so it hasn't been really feasible. But I also used to bodybuild in my 20s, and I kind of went back to that's actually what I'm doing now. So like, if I can't have bikes, I still need something. So yeah, I like to get my training on. I think Judy's the same way.
I did replace with Ironman training and triathlon and racing, and what I found out was that wasn't going to keep me sober, and it wasn't enough for me. And in the early on, I had to go find a group of people that I could that could help me work the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I did for a couple years. Since we've had the shop, I don't go to meetings much, but I still keep in touch with my people that that help get me sober and actually work through some things that I needed to work through. And I feel like when I was training for Ironman, I mean, I was still smoking pot and popping pills here and there. And like, I was very self-consumed with myself and I didn't care about anyone else. And that is addiction. And, you know, I mean, I was gone every weekend, you know, on a 100-mile bike ride and then would have to run for an hour after that, you know, and then I would come home and he would be like, man, I can't wait till this race is over, you know, and then after that race, it was, okay, now I'm going to race bicycles. I'm going to do cyclocross.
Yeah.
And, you know, really none of that really worked out for me when now, I'm a little obsessed with what I eat right now where, dieting pretty hard, but I don't feel like I feel the addiction with something else at this point. I don't know. AA kind of helped me with that. Dominic doesn't really do AA.
I'm not wired for it. That's not how I'm wired.
Yeah.
Most people just.
I don't do AA right now either. I mean, I still reach out to my people in AA. I don't do meetings.
But
we do have people from the program come in here that are trying to get sober. They know, and that helps me stay sober.
Yeah.
So
I'm just not. I mean, some people it works that way. For me, I'm completely neurotic in how I live my life. I mean, I go down to counting my minutes. I have to have my routine the same way every day. I know exactly when I'm gonna get my next cup of coffee. I know exactly when I'm gonna go hop in the shower.
Is that like an OCD thing? Is it?
Yeah,
he has OCD really bad.
Gotcha.
That OCD is probably one of the root causes of, I think, my addiction. I mean,
when I met him, he used to count in fives. Everything had to be five. If he couldn't brush his teeth once.
When I first got sober, my brain went crazy. For 2 years, my brain was not functioning right whatsoever. But I was still maintaining. I still worked my ass off and still rode. But now it's like, you know, I'm all about food prep. I'm all about getting our meals, and I love to cook. So it's like I stay sober by being very regimented.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm very regimented in my business too. You know, I'm gotten really every year I'm better at of plotting out my work. But for the year one, I'm like, oh shit, like the water lines up to my nose, and I got all this work to do, and
He had 2 mechanics the first year.
Yeah, you know, I was kind of I really gave myself a cushion,
right?
You know, to make sure that we did a really good impression when we first got on the scene.
The second year we had 2 mechanics. The third year we had 2, and then the fourth year we had 1, and now we have none.
I did it all myself this past season.
Wow!
And we actually did more repairs than we did the previous years. So our repairs are up, and I'm down to a one-man show. But now I'm like, I can just do that then, you know, and I'm never under the gun. I always, even during the peak season, I always time it out to where I am caught up on Friday. So when she's not here, I can have a fuck off day, usually, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't seem like either of you are afraid of getting your hands dirty and working your asses off.
Well,
you guys just got back from vacation, right?
We did.
First vacation?
Actually, first time we've closed the shop ever.
Okay.
So we actually... Last year we did go away for 4 days last year, but we had someone in here.
Okay.
One of our mechanics.
Right on.
It was dumb because we kind of lost money.
Keeping the shop open.
We had
paying
It was
somebody.
kind of like a courtesy to the neighborhood. Like, okay, we'll keep the shop open from 12 to 6 in case anybody, you know, needs a tube or a flat change or, you know. But we actually ended up losing money because we had to pay someone to be here, and then.
They were bored out of their skulls. Nobody came in.
Yeah, because people know you're gone.
Exactly.
You guys are like, everybody's watching you on social media. It's like, Dom and Judy are out of town. Why would I go to Spun?
Yeah, I mean, not to tour at home, but that's pretty much it. Like, if we're not here, or I'm not here on Mondays, and
Nobody comes in on Monday because Dominic's not here. They're like,
funny.
oh, yeah. And Dominic, now everyone knows he's not here. I said, did anyone ask for me? Nope. There's some people that still continue to come in, and they always say, oh, I forgot. He's not here.
Well, and that's the other thing that you know, the consistency being in the neighborhood. Like, you guys are not just whatever, you own a bike shop in the neighborhood, but you live somewhere else. You're I mean, like out on the outskirts or something. You guys are here, you're involved in stuff. You're getting pylons put up in the median of the street. You're in the Rock and Roll Carnival and the 4th. That was the first time I ever saw either of you. As I saw Dom riding his bike in the Rock and Roll Carnival. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude is ripped. Like, who is that guy? We're talking a little bit about bodybuilding. If you've never seen Dom, I mean, if I was like putting on a costume party and I needed somebody for the Popeye costume, like Dom would be the guy.
Checks in the mail, Brandon. There you go.
No, but like, there's an obvious commitment. The funny thing is, and I was talking to Terry about this, is you guys aren't preachy about any of that stuff. Like, I feel like there's a hole in the other side of the world that you're in, which is the image-based, hardcore athlete bike world. It would be all about, like, here's what I'm doing that you can emulate. Here's,
I hate that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Look at me,
Right, you'd be posting pictures of you lifting and stuff like that. I was thinking the other day, and I was thinking you obviously have a huge commitment to your own fitness, but I don't hear you talking about it, which is kind of refreshing.
Sometimes I'll be proud of my food. Like I just posted my food prep. That's what I'm
Seems like
proud
we
of.
can give you that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, look at all this food I prepped, man.
But you're not like, I'm not seeing you with mirror shots of yourself flexing on Facebook.
No, I just do that for my wife.
No,
And she tells me to stop it.
if I have to take a picture in the shop, though, you can tell he's like, turn to the camera.
Oh, it's called angling. Yeah,
Well,
I'll always throw an angle in at least.
Damn right.
Yeah.
But he never posts pictures of himself. Never. I've never, ever. He hates it. If I'm like, hey, we need a picture, he's like,
Well, and it just seems like there's not a question behind it. It's just part of the ethos that I appreciate is you guys are real about what you're doing. The stuff that you're doing is because it's the stuff you do, not because you're advertising it for somebody else or you're marketing.
No, that's...
The
only marketing we do is just to be ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we work, because we can have people that can come in here that really want to be into the biking world or get physically fit, and they can come in and we're not going to bullshit them, and even if they don't, I've had people like, they come in and I have dudes come in for like lifting advice, they don't buy anything at all from me,
Yeah.
but we just sit there hang out like, oh yeah, but it's not something I like go out and do, something like that, but I just think it's important to be yourself and not take yourself too seriously. I think a lot of people take themselves way too seriously, especially in social media, Facebook world, I call it the Facebooks, I don't take it too seriously.
It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be one of those people. Some people are really invested to be like that, that's like their thing.
Well, and the whole like marketing, I just don't see you guys marketing your personalities as the thing. I see you marketing the shop and the work of the shop and like what you do. And if you want a badass set of custom wheels, come and I'll lace those up. If you want a bike built, if you want a real neighborhood bike shop experience, if you just want to talk to real people, come into the shop. Don't come in here because we're marketing ourselves as know-it-alls of something or lifestyle gurus or something like that. And I think a lot of people that have gone through what you guys have gone through to get where you are and have the focus that you have might have felt the pressure to do that, to sort of tout successes and put yourselves up on pedestals as success stories when you guys seem to have a pretty good grasp of your humility through the whole thing.
I think so. Yeah.
I think the
It's a
most
weird
thing
question
that
to ask people, are you humble? But
Oh,
yeah,
totally humble.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Judy. What were you saying?
I just think that when it comes to, I handle all the social media for the shop. So I handle every single post that goes up is from me. And I try to make it a balance of things that we can do for you and also our personalities. The shop reflects our personalities. Yeah. You can't, there's no denying that, you walk in, this is definitely our little place.
Yeah.
And like when I was telling Terry, best place to interview us. If we're not at home, we're here. And if we're not here, we're at home. We're not in a bar. We're not, you know what I mean? We're just, we're
actually geeks. We are. We are total dorks.
And sometimes when we have these conversations at home, I'm like, can you imagine if someone was listening to us right now? Because they'll be talking about how awesome a tomato is.
Yeah, but you see how fresh this tomato is? This is amazing.
Yeah, but you care about stuff, and you care about good stuff.
Yeah, it's we are dorks.
I know we are.
Geeks just means enthusiasts. You guys are enthusiastic about the stuff you care about.
We're not like any other bike shop in general, I got yesterday. I'm outside right when we opened. I'm smoking a cigar on the bench out front. You know, I got a hoodie on and wearing my etnies, and I see this guy walking around the street with a wheel, and he crosses the street, and I don't know who he is. I'm pretty sure he's coming to see me. I'm like, yeah, what's going on, man? He's like, he has a $900 carbon wheel in his hand from one of his race bikes.
Wow.
And he's like, I talked to you on the phone like about a month ago about doing. I'm like, oh yeah, you know. And I'm smoking a cigar. I'm like, what do you want to do about it? And I think he was a little weirded out at first, you know. And I'm like, I figured out what was happening. I'm like, hey. I put my cigar down. I'm like, let's go inside, you know. Let's go work this out inside. And but he had a smile on his face the whole time it was here, and we got a great game plan for his wheel, and we're gonna produce something that's amazing that maybe can be almost recreated by other bike shops, but not all the way.
Not with the same style.
My wheels are better. My wheels are I will toot my own horn on that. I make the most balanced, perfect, beautiful wheels in the world.
Okay, to talk about that, like, let's get technical for a second. Like, for people that don't know, people that aren't bikers, what's the difference between a custom laced wheel and
anybody can make a wheel straight, what we call true, and round. You know, anybody can do that. But what separates the good from the great is getting each spoke completely even tension from side to side. You know, there's some technical aspects of tension drop from drive to non-drive, but we're not gonna get into that. And then throwing a lot of extra tension into wheels. You know, I've been building wheels since I was 14. And then
somebody teach you, or is it all just you
I
trial
taught
and
myself
error?
at first,
Okay.
like just had one wheel next to me to look at, and then had one wheel that I just built, you know, and that's kind of how I learned. And then I was able to apprentice under an old school mechanic when I was a kid, and he taught me how to really lace wheels and how to use a spoke machine that none of the other kids got to use because they're very expensive to use, but I was a sponge. He loved me. And so once I got here, you know, I've always built wheels for BMX kids because my wheels are always stronger. And that was even before we had the shop. You know, how come you get a call? You mind lacing some wheels for me? I got all the parts. I'm like, yeah, just bring them
Something
over.
that can
you know?
take a beating.
Yeah, you know, I would sit in bed, you know, watching TV, lacing up wheels. And so then when I got here, I was always proud of my stuff, you know, and I did some mountain bike stuff here and there, but you know, it was a fluke to do road and mountain bike for me. And then I got the chance some roadies came in, you know, and got me to build wheels, and I figured out, man, my road wheels are freaking amazing. You know? Yeah. And I took a lot of pride in that, you know, and so I got a reputation for it. And I might take a little bit more time than most people do to build a set of wheels, but that's okay.
Quality.
You know? Yeah, you know, I do a couple extra steps, a couple more tension, and it's really kind of paid off to be proud of what you're doing and to really have, I mean, anybody can do it, but to do it with passion, you know, makes a big freaking difference, you know?
Yeah.
And then I get to build wheels for my wife that she loves. And the nuance is, I mean, that once you feel a great set of wheels with great hubs that have beautiful bearings in it and a nice crispy engagement on the drive, and you feel how much easier it is to pedal and how fast it goes because they're light. And I mean, we all know that light rolling rotational weight is the key to any upgrade of a bicycle, you know, and I can build some super strong, really light wheels. I can build some heavy duty wheels that some of my BMX boys that usually will go through a wheel every 4 months. Yeah. I got some of my boys that are on 1.5 2 years of my wheels, you know, and they eat parts, you know, so it's a testament to just doing it right and having pride in it, you know, and then custom builds too. I built some cool bikes too, you know. I don't like, if you're gonna spend $4,000, you know, you can go to a bike store and buy a bike out of the box that everybody else has. It's a great bike, it's a nice bike, and it's awesome. It's a $4,000 bike, but it's like everybody else's, you know. Like I would
spend $4,000.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, I would want something that's different. I was just talking to a mechanic from another shop. They have a deal where they get 2 really good deals on bikes every year that they can buy through the bike shop. And I'm like, I was always asking, like, man, I'm surprised you don't build. You like because he's a really good mechanic. And he's like, well, it's just not. I get such a price break. I'm like, yeah, man, but you're rolling on what somebody else has. He's like, I know it does kind of bother me, you know, but to each their own, you know. But we've been able to produce some really, really cool new school stuff, I do a lot of old school stuff, you know, something that the old school and the antiques most shops don't do anymore. So to be able to do that, it's pretty awesome.
Right on. And so like this is your rabbit hole. You go deep down this rabbit hole, craft, quality.
I can talk about this and bore you for hours.
No, it's not boring to me. Maybe to somebody else, but I would go there with you. Judy, what's your rabbit hole? What do you go down?
Oh, I'm a numbers dork and data and margins, discounts.
She keeps the doors open.
I pay the bills. I buy everything for the shop. I do all the purchasing, and Dominic really doesn't get.
She knows more about BMX parts and mountain bike parts than I do.
And then the kids send him. You know, Dominic's not a computer. Like he doesn't. You know, I caught him dialing 411 from his iPhone when we first got our iPhones. I'm not kidding you. And so he's. You know, he's not. He's just not. He doesn't listen. He doesn't look at text messages. You know, if you look at his phone right now, there's currently like 28 unread text messages. So I read his text messages and his emails on Facebook because he didn't even join Facebook until we got the shop, and he's not very good at it. So but the kids will email him like, "Can you get me this, this, and this?" And I'm always like, "You guys, I'm the one that."
Well, they've
like,
kind of stopped that. Now they go right to you.
No, not all the time. I still see
Most of them.
messages.
Now they're going to. We're gonna
With
the word out.
Yeah, they
Just
know.
Go straight to Judy.
just let me know. Like, you know, I'm the one. You know, Matt Bischoff of one of our. He's like an old BMX rider, and he's an old friend of Dominic's. They used to ride together when they were like teenagers or whatever. He works for one of the BMX companies. Matt called yesterday. Dominic answered the phone, but you know what? He said right away, "Hey, can I talk to Judy?"
Let me
So I
talk to
said,
her.
"Dude,
It's like, this Matt? He's like, oh yeah, Matt's Matt. He was like going to bypass me. Yeah,
I love it. He's figured it out.
yeah. So yeah.
But no, I'm the boring side. So I do all the
But you're the make it happen
bookkeeping.
side.
I mean, I am. He doesn't know when the phone bill is due. Same at home though too. Like he doesn't know about any of the bills
but
or.
that's perfect though.
It works
There's so many
perfectly.
things about like what you guys have found or what you've
It's
built
the
or
yin
what
and the
you've
yang.
made. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
like every part of it is yin and yang. Finding the neighborhood, finding the time, finding each other at the time, having these perfectly complementary like things that you bring to the business that without that perfect fit, it just wouldn't be what it is.
There's no way this would work without what she does. There's no, I couldn't do it. I mean, pay bills.
I couldn't do
Vendors,
this without
what?
him, and he couldn't do this without me. So
I'm a grease monkey. That's what I'm a grease monkey, and I want to dork out and talk about bikes. And
But
that's
I
what I
also
do.
say-
But you get to do that.
That's what I get. Yeah, that's
She
because
keeps
that
everything
allows
else
to happen.
moving, yeah.
Judy
he's
allows
the
that to
face,
happen.
and I'm in the office. So that's how it is.
But when it comes to bike sales, you do most of the bike sales these days.
Sometimes.
Most of the times, unless it's a custom. But you know, for the most part, she runs the showroom floor too. You know,
I don't have a lot of. I guess I mean I can sell a bike. I don't like to do sales as much as Dominic does. Like he's pretty good at it. I only have so much, and then I'm done. You know, I'm
Yeah,
like
I hear
I
you.
can only try so hard.
Right.
You know,
It's either happening or it's
it's
not.
either good. Yeah.
well, we don't do the hard sell here either.
No, we
We
don't.
We don't really don't. I mean, that's one thing I really would never want in my shop is the hard sell or the fake sell or the fake sales pitch. You know, I mean, I want people to be walking. I mean, I drop F-bombs a lot on when customers are around. That's just how I talk.
I
you know?
wondered if we could cuss on this. thing.
And like, you know, it's like
Absolutely.
I've
not
caught
radio.
myself doing it yesterday with this new customer about the BMX for his kids, and I'm cussing left and right, then he starts cussing, you know, and it's like, oh, we're just kind of hanging. If we were hanging out in a bar, it'd be the same thing. I think, you know, it'd be just chit chatting.
Yeah.
That's how I like sales to be here. You know,
Right.
I think it makes it more genuine. I hate hard sales and people who would just want to sell a bike they have on the floor to get it out. You know, that's
we
not what we do.
see it a lot.
We see it a
We see a lot
lot.
of people. They come walking in with a bike that obviously was sold to them because it was on the floor. It might not fit them.
Sure, it fits you. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You just wanted it off your floor. And this one poor lady had been riding this road bike and killing mileage on it on a bike that was 2 sizes too small for her.
Yeah.
And she was assured, oh, this is the right size for you. And I actually had one of Judy's old carbon frames that had very low mileage on it, and I gave her cherry of a deal on it. And it was 2 sizes bigger. She's like, "Are you sure this is gonna fit me?" I'm like, "This is the size bike you're supposed to be riding."
Yeah.
And
Feel the difference.
we built it up, and she's like, "Oh my God, my neck pain's gone away instantly. My shoulders." I'm
Crouched
like,
over, hunched over.
yeah, and now she's faster. She's more efficient, and I got a free pedicure out of it. Awesome.
I did not expect that story to go that direction.
And I got butterfly pink. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was an awesome color.
I love it. All right, well, that needs to be on Instagram. It's not. Here's what I think is cool is like, you know, the podcast we started at the beginning, the question is like, how do we find meaningful work? How do we find meaning in the work that we do? I am endlessly fascinated by like, some people struggle for years to find that or to put the pieces together. Some people know from the start, and then other people, like yourselves, it seems like go through this long process of things not happening, things not breaking, and then because of force of will, because of whatever, like
stars align.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like planets aligning or whatever. Like when it falls together, it really falls together, and I think it's really cool for me. I love to be here. I'll just come in and hang out. But like, it's really cool also to talk to you guys and hear how you think about your business, because on the surface, it's just, well, we're just Dom and Judi and we would have done, this is what we do. This is the only thing that we do. And when you dig a little bit deeper, there's an incredible amount of intention and integrity and passion that goes into what you guys do, that you're not like, you know, blasting from the hilltops. You don't need that. You don't need to be putting that out on Facebook to do what you do and do it amazing. And it's cool. I love it. It's inspiring to me. I'm glad that you guys are here.
That's very nice to hear.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean it. Thank you for taking the time. I feel like we could talk for
Are we over?
3 hours.
Let's do another hour. Yeah.
Well, maybe season 2 or later season 1 we'll come back. But yeah, it's a good start. I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time and being willing to let Terry and I invade your space.
It was fun. This is a good time. Good time.
This episode of the Distiller podcast was recorded live at Spun Bicycles at 4122 Hamilton Avenue in Northside, Cincinnati, Ohio. Special thanks to Dominic and Judi LoPresti for welcoming us into the shop. Please do stop in, buy a bike, get one fixed, just kill some time. It's a great place. And thanks to Sidewinder, also on Hamilton and Northside, for the delicious coffee. The Distiller is produced, recorded, and hosted by me, Brandon Dawson, with co-production, booking, and occasional coffee delivery from Terry Heist. Post-production, editing, and mixing by Justin Golden. Our logo was designed by Scott Ryan. Download episodes, find links and info, including photos of the guests and locations, and get in touch with us all at thedistillerpodcast.com, including to suggest people you think should be on The Distiller to talk about their search for meaningful work, or if you think there's somewhere interesting we could record the show, or something interesting we should drink while doing it. It's all at thedistillerpodcast.com and on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.